Episode 8 of the AdLab podcast is officially out, and this one is bringing in the heat. It's all about how to launch new products without wasting time, money, or energy. If you have been sitting on an idea wondering how to finally bring it to life, this episode gives you 5-step cheat code on what to do before you launch a new product. You wouldn't want to miss David Ogilvy's legendary framework for launching new products with over decades of success in launching more than 70 products in the market. Search AdLabs episode 8 and start listening. Welcome back to AdLabs, the podcast where we decode timeless marketing wisdom and put it into actionable strategies for today's digital world. Every episode, we dive deep into iconic advertising lessons, dissect them, and give you the modern playbook to put them into action. So whether you're a solo entrepreneur, the founder of an SME, or you're leading a global brand, this is the podcast for you. My name is Vera Phoebe from VP Creations. Let's get started. If you're about to launch a new product and want to avoid costly mistakes, this episode is your launch pad. Today we dive into David Ogilvy and Ogilvy and Mather's legendary framework for launching new products. Over decades, they have introduced more than 70 products with a success rate double the industry standard. That kind of track record isn't luck, it's principles. In this episode, we'll unpack the proven steps Ogilvy used from product development to packaging, advertising, and beyond, and show you how you can adapt them for today's markets. Whether you're launching a new fintech service in Nairobi or a fresh consumer brand on TikTok, this is something that you really must hear. So the article reads, How to Launch New Products. Ogilvy and Mather has helped to launch over 73 new products. 45 are now established brands, double use the usual rate of success. This experience has taught us certain principles. If you observe these principles when you introduce a new product, you will increase your chance of success. So number 1, the product. Beware of the product which is indifferently received in test markets. Research shows that such products almost always fail in national marketing. Don't count on national advertising to make a bad product sell. It won't. Most products which fail in test markets are not liked well enough by consumers. Some are established products in inferior dress. Some are too newfangled and some are too trivial. If you have to launch a new product of this kind, do it without illusions. Your advertising may succeed in getting it to customer to try it once, but it will not buy it again unless it offers them a real benefit. And I'd like to comment on this because I've seen this so many times in my line of work when the product is just horrible, it's terrible, and the business owners are still insisting it's the advertisement or the marketing or the sales that are not aggressive enough to get people to buy their product. For example, especially I've seen this in the tech world where a product is not yet ready for the market, but they want to prove that it can be sold. So people run ads, they do the whole 360 marketing, branding and whatever. They try and push the product out there for the customers. It gets a bad feedback, or when people buy it, they just buy it once and the churn rate is extremely high simply because the product is bad. So in my head, I used to walk out of those situations because I know it does not matter how much I advertise. No one is just going to buy a shoddy product. And especially for like B2B sort of businesses, imagine that you are a business offering another business some sort of services, and you definitely know that those services are terrible. So when you're giving these services to this business as your customer, you know their customers are going to suffer because the product is just terrible and it's bad. So I side with Ogilvy when he says that it does not matter how good your advertisement is. It does not matter how incredible your sales people are. If your product is terrible and it's bad, it's just not going to work. So slow down, Savannah. Find out if your product actually meets the demand of the market or it's not. And don't operate on illusions. And since this is your lifelong dream to create this app or this service or whatever, if it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Sometimes great ideas are not good business services, and that's just that. Number 2 is the package. More often than not, this is the most important factor in the success of a product. For example, it is usually the only thing that the consumer ever sees. The package is the product. Whenever you market a new product, make sure you test alternative packages. Otherwise, you may find yourself saddled with a loser when a minor change in the package might have turned out to be a winner. And therefore, your packaging is one of those things that you really, really need to think through. And you would rather invest a lot of money with the creative team as well. Because some products, it really is packaging that is the determining factor of whether your product gets picked on the shelf or not. So for example, here in Kenya, or here in Nairobi rather, I've seen so many people, solo entrepreneurs and also huge corporation, especially in the FMCG industry, they sell a lot of peanut butter. Everyone has the classic container, which is a plastic container, which is a plastic container. The top is yellow, and then the only thing that is different is maybe the labeling, like the name of the business owner and just the name of the peanut butter brand. That's it. If all of you have identical product and identical packaging, why should people pick you and not the other person? So ideally, in the way with which Ogilvy is summarizing, a product sometimes is really just the packaging. So if you were to shoulder the costs and get more epic design to fit a certain audience, either for the extremely old or the extremely young, do a health conscious one, or go to the opposite of health conscious, whatever it is, and get another type of packaging that is not the plastic one. You could do glass, but glass in a unique shape. You could do the holders for the peanut butter. If you're getting 2 packs or 3 packs, the holders could have a different unique design. It's all up to you, because when the markets become saturated, the only differentiating factor, or rather the different USP between yours and the next person, is just the package. Package is so important that sometimes it can give an illusion of just a normal product and change it to become premium. So like, for example, I've seen a lot of people nowadays when they're trying to do their small business, they would go out and import a lot of earrings and then resell them. So the ones who changed the packaging from that one just written fashion, and they changed the card to mean something else, to look a different way, to fit a certain aesthetic, they can therefore increase the price and sell to a specific audience that will like that aesthetic, and they're likely to do way better than just importing the fashion earrings and then selling them directly. So the takeaway point here is, sometimes in a saturated market, the product is really the packaging, and that's it. Number 3 is the name. Most names put forward for new products are very much ill-conceived. It pays to give your new product an unforgettable name. The best names are often very simple, descriptive, and benefit-oriented. Remember, if you choose the wrong name, no amount of advertising is going to save you. So also spend a lot of time in the way you name your products and also how you describe your products. So start by understanding a simple, descriptive, and a benefit-oriented name for your product. Number 4 is the price. The right price is crucial to success. Test all the alternative prices before you decide on what you need to charge. So if you charge too much, consumers may reject your product. If you charge too little, you may throw away enormous amounts of profit. And pricing is also a marketing function, and you don't just guess pricing. You can either choose to work backwards if you're profit facing, by saying that if majority of the businesses that are just direct buy and resell is simple, you can either do 30% markup or 45% markup or 15% markup. It really just depends on you. But if you're creating a product from scratch, then the pricing function becomes very, very much influenced by the amount of time, effort, raw materials, and everything like that has been used to make the product. But then when now marketing comes in, it's the psychological bit of pricing where you can do $6.99, $6.59, or whatever. You can apply the psychological ideas of pricing in marketing. And lastly is the advertising. It pays to launch your new product with a big advertising campaign, even if this means spending more than you can afford. You can always reduce your budget later, but you cannot save a dud by advertising it. Test your advertising in advance. Find out what kind of promise works best for your product. So again, if you are going to do advertising, go big on advertising. Make sure that you have a very healthy budget for advertising, especially if you're like a premium company. Don't think that you're going to spend a few thousands of shillings to advertise your business. And I see this mistake that keeps on happening. For example, if you sell things that are thousands and thousands of Kenyan shillings, don't think that doing a cheap advertising is going to get you the kind of clients, the caliber of clients that you want. It really does show whether an organization has really thought through and had proper budgeting for advertising, and those ones who just put things together and they call it advertisement. It really shows. So direct response is a secret weapon. Direct response advertising is particularly effective to launch new products. It enables you to test the promise, the price, and the package. Then if it works, you can expand into general advertising. So direct response is you have your product that is semi-ready or it's ready, you take it to the market, you give it to the masses, and you see how people are going to react to it. Are they going to come back and buy it? Are they not going to buy it? Are they going to be iffy about it? Are they just buying it because you have an activation personnel in the spaces where they're buying the product? So there's a lot of things to really consider, and that's why I'm always very perplexed when people think that marketing is a one-day affair where you just run an ad and magic happens. It is constant efforts, learning, reiteration, and taking back the feedback to the market, to the product teams, and telling them what the market is saying, so that when the next phase that you're marketing, it has a better chance of selling. Launching a new product doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Whether you're a solo entrepreneur in Nairobi or you're running a small FMCG brand, remember this: test small, learn fast, adapt, then scale with confidence. Every successful business you admire once started with experiments. If you found this episode useful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with any other business owner who is planning their next big launch. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so that you'll never miss the next cheat code we drop for growing in 2025 here on AdLab podcast.